from the bottom. From the bottom. You know we got 'em. Oh yeah, your boy Cal is back. I think I'm a little too close to the mic. Your boy Cal is back with my homeboy, Detroit Chris, Mr. Inspirator, Motivator.
What's up, everybody?
Oh yeah, you know, on one of your episodes when you were talking about the lottery and stuff, one of our listeners said he went and bought stock just by listening to what you were telling him.
That's fantastic. That seriously is awesome. I'm glad people are, making good decisions, and I could help someone, kind of take baby steps toward financial success. It's always good. So yeah.
Oh man, it feels good to be back. Told y'all we're gonna be having the guest on here. Shout out to my boy JR. He could not be here at this time. And what you been up to, Chris?
Busy. My kids are all getting older. Had a new baby boy.
Everybody say congrats to the new baby.
Appreciate that.
He only got two more coming.
No more coming. But it's been, real hectic because you don't have a schedule until their schedule is fulfilled. I know you understand that better than anybody.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, so just, living the family life and trying to prep for our basketball tournament coming up.
Oh, yes. And this year we probably will be taping. Your boy's going for the chip and Hoop Fest again. Hopefully this time we be able to pull it out, bring it back home.
Well, we keep getting closer and closer every year.
And we got, that's how you know we owe, when we got to start getting in shape months in advance before it start.
That really messed us up last year. So yes, we got to get. I've been working on it right now. That's what I really do with my own free time. Is that with the little free time that I have.
Yeah, I'm saying you can't have that much free time.
I don't.
Yeah, earlier Chris asked me was I bored, and I told him I don't have time to get bored. Every little second I have is taken up by daddy duties or home duties or husband duties. It's like my job never stopped, like 25/8.
Preach. And then when you do get in that position where you don't have anything to do, you feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah, then you go find something to work on.
Yeah, find something to do. That's right.
Me, I just want to sit back and relax and watch TV or play the game, but nah, that ain't happening no more.
I still try to get my game time in, though. I really try.
But do you
That's
do
the only
it
way
after
I can
everybody
wind
goes
my
to
mind
sleep?
down. Typically like around dinner time, I'll get in there. So it's still a little bit later, but yeah, I try to get in that because that helps me wind my mind down, man. I just on beta all throughout the day, and then I just want to kind of calm down and get prepared for all the stuff I got to do the next day. So, this life is busy, but it's wonderful,
Well, yeah, you got a point there. Ain't nothing wrong with the family life. Because, yeah, you always doing stuff, and you always going to stay busy. So, if you bored, I don't know how, if you a husband, a dad, or a boyfriend, because your job never stops.
I can dig that, for sure.
But we're going to jump to our first topic. Why is everyone always in a rush?
Why is everyone always in a rush? It's the subliminal things around us. It's the perception of society and where society's going. It's the fact that people aren't grounded anymore, so they're always charged up in beta and they don't know how to get down to alpha. And that's like, for example, if somebody cuts you off in traffic and then you get so upset, or they get real upset and you guys are yelling at each other, road rage, just everybody being in beta all the time. If you were able to ground yourself and come back down to alpha, you'd be calm. Nothing little like that would affect you in that way. And I think that it's all a combination of those things that make everybody in a rush. It's like when you're on edge and you're, driving somewhere, you're trying to get there fast. It's the edge. But if you weren't on edge, your approach would be different.
So you think people should leave earlier?
Not
so they don't have to be in the rush.
That won't save you from being in beta. If you're going to be in a rush, you're going to be in a rush no matter when you leave. It's the truth. You just want to get to where you're going. It's not about the time as much as it is you trying to get to your destination. What I mean by the alpha and beta thing is, beta is, let's say you take your pre-workout and you go to the gym and you're working out and you're like listening to loud music and you're like, getting pumped. That's beta. Some people most people stay in beta. They don't know how to come back down to alpha. And it sounds strange, but it's because when do we actually really touch the earth? When do we actually get our charge from the planet? Who walks around barefoot in the sand every day? I mean, some people have that luxury. Who walks around in their grass barefoot, actually touches the part of the earth? Earth has a natural charge. We have charge. We're built on electrons. That's what grounding is. That's how you ground yourself. That's how you keep yourself healthy. If you look at people like in Africa, like African tribes, they don't wear no shoes or rubber or socks. They're always barefoot. They're always out in nature. And that's why you see a lot of them are ripped, in good shape, in good spirits, able to do certain things. It's because they're one with the earth, one with the planet. They're getting the fuel they need from the ground and the fuel they need from the sun. All of it. It makes a huge difference. But a lot of people don't know that stuff. Anyway.
I mean, to tell you the truth, I don't walk outside I gotta have shoes on.
Right. See, perception is everything. But
do you walk outside with no shoes on?
Not as much as I should. But I do.
So should you cut the grass with no shoes on?
That's dangerous. Dangerous.
Well,
I mean, if you got kids, it's dangerous. Rocks and toys you step on with no shoes. That's not what I mean. But if you do cut the grass and it's nice outside, and you go outside barefoot. Kind of hang out in the grass for 20 minutes. It'll help you. It'll give you a different feeling. It sounds weird and corny, but the truth is it's all about perception. Everything's perception completely. Everything that we do in life is perception. Like the ideas that we focus on a daily basis. People think that they can't say no or they can't stop. If you don't like your job, then don't do it. But people are like, oh, it's not that simple. Actually, it is.
Well,
it is that simple. No, listen,
though.
The concept of not doing something is that simple, right? Everything has repercussions.
Yeah,
everything has repercussions.
And
everything.
You're not working,
but if you really hate your job and it's making your life bad, for you to say that it's complicated, but it's not. And there's a lot of stuff like that. Everything is a lot more simple than how society perceives it. It really is. It's just simple. If you wake up and you're in a bad mood, you're going to have a bad day. Simple. There's none of that little stuff in between. The reason why everybody's always in a rush is because that's the way society's perceived. So if I want something, I want it now. Everything's getting faster. I just noticed that I really have to put an emphasis on teaching my children patience because there's nothing to be patient about. They want it now. They want to get on. Why is my iPad dead? I want to watch it now. Well, it needs to charge. You have to wait. It's always a problem when you have to wait. And that's our kids being in beta. They don't have any discipline for that. Right. So, and it's only getting worse. Well, everything has to be about now.
In their world, everything is now. Compared to your world when you grew up, you had to be patient.
Everything's changing. That's what I'm saying. So it's evolving, but that doesn't change the importance of patience. Just because society's evolving and the perception and image of where we're going is evolving does not take away from the importance of patience. It doesn't. Any person can benefit from understanding that particular quality. And so I still think it's important to teach them that, but it's much harder to do that. And it's only getting worse. I mean, it's just always, and then people are liking the convenience of having things so fast that they don't appreciate the fact that not everything in your life is going to come fast. Sometimes you're going to have to wait.
It's
and
a
then people
grind.
lose interest, or people don't push toward it, or people just try to veer off to something else because they're not willing to wait for it. And I think that it's just changing, the way people live their lives. And we always say, oh my God, that year went by so fast. Yeah, it sure did. It shouldn't, but it did go by fast because everything around you is going fast. Everybody's in a rush to do something. Everybody's on edge. And it's like everything's so complicated. Everything's so complicated.
So do you slow down yourself?
Yep.
How do you slow down?
I just try to make a conscious effort to slow down. I try to make a conscious effort to do those things. I try to make a conscious effort to ground whenever I can. I would like to do it more, but I do try to do that. I just don't think it's good to always be on edge. I feel like, for things like hate and anger, like life's too short. Why would you want to put yourself through those extreme emotions when they do nothing good for you? Sometimes it's alright to just be laid back and take things in stride and understand that life's about making mistakes and learning from them. Or somebody cut you off in traffic, they probably just made a mistake. Who are you to sit there and get all mad and judge? You're probably never going to see that person again. Like I was telling you that story about that guy in Arizona that hunted that guy down because he cut him off and started shooting at his truck and shot his 10-year-old daughter in the head. And that is ridiculous. That's just uncalled for. I mean, there's no words. And that's extreme beta right there. And so that's why I believe everybody's in a rush, is because, hey, that's just the perception of our society right now.
Yeah. I guess it is hard because every time you turn on the TV is get rich quick. Get this quick. Get this, get that. I mean, who would want to wait?
Life is
life's
a lot of hard work,
a lot of dedication,
and a little bit of luck. Some people get more luck than other people. You can't control that. It's just the way the cards turn over. But most of the things that I've gotten has not just been quick. The good things not been quick.
But you were persistent, right? You put in like
because
years and years of work.
Take time. Right? I understood those type of things take time. And that's the reality of it. Do some people get lucky in that regard? Sure. Of course. Do I hate them because of that? No. Some people got easier paths. They did. That's just how the cards fell for them. But if you understand that things take time, it still wouldn't hurt even if you got it faster. Because you still understand that. You have a grasp on that concept. And I believe that those type of people appreciate things more as well.
Yeah.
So it just depends on, what you go through in your life. It's like the kind of the catch-22 with our children, right? We don't want our children to grow up the same way we did, but if they don't grow up the same way we did, they don't get to learn some of the stuff we learned from the streets, right? Or from the way we grew up, or from, a povertish environment, right? They don't get to learn that stuff. But you, as a man, you don't want your kids to learn that, but you do. And so it's like a catch-22.
So do you think it hurt them by not growing up almost like you did? Because you want your kids to have a better life than you had?
Somewhat. I do. I think that a little bit of that is me wanting my children to get a taste of that humble pie. And feeling what it feels like to have nothing. And be appreciative of
what they have.
Just super small things. Not even really what they have, but being, instead of, gawking at dinner, being happy that you have something to eat. So it's just, they don't get to see, and I can't fault them for that. Yeah. I put them in that situation, right? And so that's where it becomes hard. I can't fault them for that, for being able to be picky, or for, I don't want that snack, I want this snack, I want to go in the snack cabinet to get snacks. When I was younger, I was like, what's a snack? I don't know snacks. Yeah, but you're very excited to give that to your children, but at the same time, like I said, it's that catch-22 where you really want them to learn how to appreciate those things, because when they get older and they have to provide for themselves, it's not just going to be falling in their lap. They're going to have to make it for themselves, and maybe they will be in that situation and be caught off guard. Nobody wants to be entitled, or nobody wants their children to feel entitled or that they don't have to work for stuff. And sometimes you got to find balance between that and giving them all the stuff that you want to give them, and it's tough.
So, okay, you just made me think of a question. Can somebody from the suburbs have a better drive than somebody from the hood who got the same dream?
Sure, why not?
Because I think that like the person from the hood has so much more on the line than the person from the suburb. You know, they don't want to. They don't want to go back.
But we can't. But see, that's not fair. Like, because they come from two different environments, and you don't really know how the what's on the line impacts both their lives. You can't compare what's on the line for the guy from the hood to the guy from the suburbs because they're in two different scenarios, right? And just because this guy's from the suburbs, maybe he is rich, maybe his parents are rich, but maybe they're good people. I know people like that. Maybe they do teach you those values. Maybe this is important for your success and your future going forward. You do have something to fall back on. But if they really teach you about caring about your future, you're not thinking about what you have to fall back on. You're thinking about what you're going to do. And so that might be different than the guy down here that doesn't have a choice. There's nothing to fall back on. But if you're not thinking about, I have something to fall back on, they're pretty much in the same area. They have different motivations, but in the same area. So it just depends on the person.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
It's tough, but it's a person by person basis. I believe when we start categorizing people because of where they came from or anything like that, that it's going to further split us. Every individual is so different. That's what makes everything great. Because you get to find out if you want to, like, or if you have the knowledge to understand that every individual is different, you find out how great life is because everybody's just a little different. Nobody's like Cal. Nobody's like Cal out there.
You got that.
There might be somebody that has similar traits, but ain't nobody's Cal. You're the only one. And you know, when people are your friend or they like you, then you know that if you're yourself, that they like you for you.
Yeah.
How cool is that? And so I think that just categorizing is tough. It's just something that's easy for us to do, and I still do it sometimes as well, but if we can get away from that thinking, I think that we'll be moving in the right direction.
How do you try to humble your kids?
I try to make them wait for stuff even though they don't have to. Try to keep getting them to be not patient but polite. Also,
saying please and
understand
thank you
that
for manners and stuff.
I try to hold things back from them, even if we might be able to get it, or even if we might be able to have it, just because they understand that you can't have everything. You know, so I just try to do those things. I also make sure that when they make decisions, they understand that there's consequences. So if you make a good decision, there's good consequences. If you make a bad decision, there's bad consequences. But there's not like, I'm going to make an extremely bad decision, but I'm just going to get a slap on the wrist. No, that's not how things work. I'm going to make an extremely bad decision. I'm going to get an extremely bad consequence. They have to know that because everybody is changing the way this works now. I think in participation trophies as stuff now. Because they don't want to hurt kids' feelings, but the truth is how is that helping? I wanted to place, but if you give me a trophy for something, that makes me feel like I did good enough, but I didn't. You know, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I got you.
And then it's up to like the parents to be able to, you know, talk to the children. Say, if you gave it your all, then you're a winner. But in order for you to place, we got to put more into it. You know. And that guidance will make them better overall than giving them participation trophies or you know, use your words, you know, like that. What kind of, you know, some of those things are not extreme enough of consequences. And so when they get out into society and they make a really bad decision, they have to face a really bad consequence. They don't know how to handle that type of stuff.
Well, but these days, parents want everything to be fair.
Which is
it's like
that's setting your kid at a disadvantage right there, because life's not fair.
Yeah,
everybody that lives it knows it. Kids don't live it.
That all the time.
And so I feel like the parents that feel that way are just a little delusional. I mean, you're not setting your kid up for like real life success. They have to understand life's not fair. Sometimes if one of my boys do something and I have an idea, you basically know which one of your kids do something based off of what they do, they both get in trouble. It's not fair, but hey, you got to get your brother to not do that, or come tell us if he does it.
But it's
just an example. It's just an example of it might not be fair, but life is really not fair. You just got to understand that. And
it's not fair.
I don't know if it'll ever be.
No, it won't never be.
It's different type of not fair to everybody.
Well, I mean, as long as it's like rich, poor, people who respect people, people who don't respect people,
people in poverty,
yeah. People who well off, life ain't never gonna be fair. You can always treat, no matter what circumstance you're in, the next person with respect. But then sometimes.
How would you like to be treated, right?
Yeah.
Those little sayings that people kind of brush off. You treat people the way you want to be treated. That's a little saying, but it's true when you really think about it. You should. You should.
But sometimes, like these days, the parents want to be the kids' friends, though. Like they want to know what's going on. They'd be like, I want them to tell me everything that's going on. So I want to be their friend. Not like they disciplinary,
That's all right. Being their friend is good, but you got to be a parent first. That's the hard part. Like some of them get so used to being a friend and having a goody-goody between their kid that they're non-confrontational about the harder things. You got to be a parent first, then a friend. And that has its own challenges, but at least you're setting your kid up for success that way, because they have someone there to guide them along, because everybody makes bad decisions. It's just going to happen. And so what are they going to do from there? I had a conversation with one of my buddies about, because he was talking about how, the Chinese in Bellevue buy a lot of properties, and
I think they buy a lot in Detroit too, from what I heard.
Yeah. He was talking about, like, he ran into some Chaldean guys. Chaldeans are these Christian Arabs, like real light-skinned, but they own a lot of the corner store market in the Midwest. Almost every corner store, like the West Coast in California, a lot of the corner stores are owned by the Korean population, but in the Midwest it's by the Chaldeans. And so
I ain't never even heard of that.
They have like different, I won't get into specifics, but they have like different tax laws for them, and so they can use their community to kind of avoid some of them. And so a lot of the money kind of stays in house. And so when I was in high school, a lot of the Chaldean kids that I know, all the power to them, their families had money. Like I had 16-year-old Chaldean kids in my school driving Jaguars on 22s with TVs in the headrest. Dead serious. Escalades and yes. And a lot of them had money, and like I said, all the power to them. But
16 years old back in the day, had those type of cars.
No joke.
But I guess they lived a different life because the area you was in was that was regular, right?
No. I mean, there was money in the area where I went to high school. I went to high school in the area that had money, but that wasn't regular. But it's not like Laguna Beach or nothing like that.
Oh, okay.
No, it definitely
like Bel Air.
They had money, Detroit. But that wasn't like that. No, but the point or the premise of that was that their community sticks together. And then we started talking, and we said, the Asian communities, they stick together. And I'm like, man, that's so awesome. And then we started talking about, only people who really don't stick together are the black community and the Latin community. Whenever I pass a black guy that I don't know, typically they treat me like I'm an enemy. Like I get a look like I'm an enemy. I'm like, hey.
They don't give you the nod?
Sometimes. But sometimes it's like I get I give a nod, and so, they'll give you a nod back.
I give a
but
nod.
It shouldn't even start off that way. Like they're like, kind of standoffish. Shouldn't? Why does it start off that way? All perception. And the crazy part is that, he was talking about he said, well, white people don't, but I said, no, but rich white people do. They keep a lot of their stuff together, and all the power to them. What I'm saying is that's actually a good concept that I wish that, some of the African American, communities did, and some of the Latin communities did, instead of doing the exact opposite and killing each other.
Some people do it, but it's a very slim margin. A lot of people look out
some
for
people
other people.
do it, but not like those.
But
other
then
communities.
you gotta look at that, like some of the other races, like they tell the other person something in their race, and they would go do it, to get to that success. Sometimes when you tell like another black person something, they don't even listen to you.
You're talking about two people at different stages, or two different communities at different stages. So let's say, for example, the Chaldeans come here and they put their community first, and they put this all together, and they do a really good job, and they still do. The Asian community is the same thing, but the African American communities have been established for a while. They've been within their ways. We've been killing each other for a long time, all because of perception, because we think that's the way it is. I mean, there's a lot of people that can tell you that subconsciously when they pass an African American guy, and let's say just it's them and they're walking by, that they don't feel a little uncomfortable because of the perception. It's the perception of the African American male in the United States, and that perception is still there. It's not in front of our face like it was back in like the late 80s and early 90s, Tehran, but we're still killing each other the same amount, maybe even more, especially like what we're talking about earlier in Chicago. Like, this is your brother in ancestry. We come from kings and queens, and would you even be interested? There's nobody trying to hear that. Nobody trying to hear that. But I like that stuff. Like really finding that real history out, and that we should be stick together. But we've been brainwashed into killing each other off while everybody else on the outside profits. And so it's just such a huge difference in communities. And I told him, my friend I was talking to, I said, I don't even know how you would turn that around. I mean, there's got to be a way. Maybe you do it a little bit at a time, but how do you turn that around? You got to have enough people that want to make a difference, right?
But then, most of the time it's about what you have to make people listen to you.
Perception,
like if you got you come up in the Lambo, then they be like, what is this guy doing? Either they gonna hate you for having this car and think you don't deserve this car, or some people gonna want to listen to you to see how you got this car.
That's a problem, because then now they're assuming that life is good because of money.
Yeah,
so that's a problem.
And rather than
I understand how people come from poverty but think that because they don't have money, but a good life doesn't have to necessarily come from having a ton of money. Money should be a means to an end, right? And so that's why I said the changing perception is different, especially how every day you're basically brainwashed into what everyday life should be. That perception is always put in your face. So changing and brainwashing a community that's been here for so long and has been through so much, it's going to take a lot of people that want to make that difference in order to do something like that, to turn it around.
But if they came to you and said, Chris, what's 2 things you would do that would help us as a race to get better with one another and help build something for us?
I'm not in a position to really do much except give them knowledge. That's probably the heaviest thing that I could give. If I could sit down and actually have a conversation where somebody would hear me, maybe they don't listen, but as long as they hear me, it's just like the teenagers you have. When you're telling them stuff, they don't listen, but they still hear you. It's the way I was raised too. I was given some great advice. I wasn't listening to it, but I heard it, and later it'd come back up. Some of those things I started to click later, and so if you could pass that knowledge on, I think knowledge is probably the most even more than money or anything else, knowledge is the best thing that you could give. And if you could spread that knowledge and make a difference that way, then that would probably be the best route to getting that change even turning in the right direction. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yes,
but
it is tough.
I never have, even living in the hood, had the urge to hurt or do anything to any people of my ancestry or outside of that. I just kind of take people for who they are, no matter what. I'm glad I take that approach as well. But that community thing is there. Just people don't think about it.
I used to wonder, why black people couldn't come together and buy the stores in their hood. And the laundromats and the car washes and all that stuff.
They could, but it's not an easy task.
I mean, but what in life is easy?
You got African American males fighting over territories that they don't own.
Not theirs.
If you have that, imagine how difficult it is to back all that perception up to make a change in that scenario. You don't own any of that. You're wearing colors and claiming a neighborhood you don't own a piece in. And then basically they put all these things in the hood to, all this bad food, all of the gun stores, the liquor stores, and it's still like that. It's not like all over the place. You don't hear about it, but if I go back down to Detroit, I still see them. They're all over the place. And the food is cheap, but it's really bad for you, and you get liquored up, and then there's a gun store, and then, you got to hustle, and, not judging any of my hustlers. I understand. It's fine. It's just, then you're put in a position where you got to kill another one of your brothers of ancestry because you think that that's the way that it has to be, and it just don't got to be that way. So it's tough, man. I was talking to you about Chicago. That Chicago stuff is tough.
Well, yeah,
hearing about that.
I'm gonna have Chicago Chris on.
What do you think everybody else thinks outside of that? What do you think the rich people think? What do you think the people outside of that community think about us? And we're in there just killing each other.
They think
every day.
Well, it's the way that they killing each other.
Right.
Every holiday, it'd be 60 shooting.
You can't even get together and have a good time without people coming through and shooting everybody. And then, if you were to get a chance to sit down one by one and be like, why are you out there? Why are you killing?
Because that's all they know.
Then they need to spread their knowledge. They need to open up their brain and learn something else.
That's
the thing. That's an excuse, but it shouldn't be an excuse. You should understand that if that's all you know, then that's a problem. Learn something else. Find something else. That doesn't mean you need to change overnight, but hey.
It's hard to change because,
that we agree on. I think it's hard to change.
Because, on one hand, you gotta realize that some of these people know they're gonna die. So they live in a different style as to somebody who got something to live for.
So we agree on that it's hard. And that's what I was saying about turning that community thing around. But at the same time, it's still a choice. You're still making a choice as hard as it is. And then you think that, hey, I got death on my back. It's like you put yourself in that situation. So you have the ability to get out if you believe you have the ability to get out. If you don't, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Nobody says it's going to be easy, but if that's all you know, then you don't think you got it. You think that's it. That's all you got. That's what the real problem is that's what they think. They think this is the norm. They don't think there's anything outside of that. They don't have a shot to do anything else.
They don't know nothing else.
Right. That's what lack of knowledge. That's exactly what I'm getting to. It's a lack of knowledge. It's the perception. It's being dug into that life, not seeing anything else outside of that. No other choices, no other anything. The knowledge is not there. So that's how they get caught up into that stuff. And it's like a vicious, brutal, sad cycle.
I know, but I can partially understand why they wouldn't know. Because if you grew up in the hood and that's all you know is your city, and you know like your family don't got money, you probably hear about this stuff on the computer and see commercials or something on TV. But
I think it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, but no, like like I don't have money to go here, and every day I wake up, it's a possibility of me getting shot just by me walking to school or walking to the corner store, even though I'm not in the gang. It's just because I'm black and I stay in this hood that somebody come through and shoot me because I stay over here. So now I gotta protect myself, and I gotta get with the group in my hood just to be safe when I go places.
So then that's the end right there. That's it. It's no, what am I gonna do about it?
Well, yeah. Once you
that question doesn't exist. That's just the end right there, and that's sad. Like I got family members that live in that situation. I was a part of that situation growing up. I get it, but the problem is that nobody asks the question. What am I going to do about it? Everything is so unobtainable to them that they don't even consider anything else. That's just the way of life. Some stuff might be, and then so it also is outside of the black community. Is that we're in a society now that don't like to take the risks.
Yeah.
We're complacent. We're in a complacent society. Everything's put right at our feet. Everything's given right to us.
That was one of the topics. Complacent. Being complacent. Risks. Listen. All of our listeners, listen. That was gonna drop a rhyme right there. We just want to take this time out to shine, put some shine on our networks. That JR say
that we rock with. Rocking with us. Esquire affiliates, and also
the No Phony Podcast Network,
all day, every day.
And if you want to be on the show and think you got a good conversation piece, hit us up so we can schedule something at 253-234-7149. And hey, your boys out here making move. We out. Well, we're going to jump to the next topic now.
But it's the truth.
That was a good rollover right there.
Because it's scary. You don't know what's going to happen. But see, that's the thing about somebody in the hood. If I was in the hood still, and I never experienced any of the life that I had outside the hood, and I believe that there's a chance that there could be something that happens to me, why would I be complacent in that situation? It's just, it is what it is. I always, even then, had like different thoughts about that type of stuff. I was going to try to use school to get out of there, or sports or something. I was going to get out.
That's what I did.
Yeah, I was going to get out. It's just that simple. But I know I have friends that stayed and went to jail. I have friends that I don't talk to anymore. I found out a couple years ago, my buddy Jay, I used to run with all the time, was in jail. And it's like he thought that he didn't have a choice. Lack of knowledge. That's what it comes down to. And then lack of risk taking, the right risks, not peer pressure, not peer pressure and pride. None of that stuff.
That could be pretty hard, depending on what type of risk.
Real hard, but you got to be willing to give it a shot.
If you want to move away, now you moving somewhere you don't know nobody. When you was comfortable in your situation, even though it wasn't a good situation. But still, you was comfortable because you knew people and people knew you. Or just like the risk of you taking of leaving your job, to start your own stuff. Like, you leaving I guess it's not even a secured check because they can let you go at any time. But you know that if I put in these hours, I got one more check coming. Rather than you starting your own business, now it's like everything is on me to bring in money for this business for me to survive.
So let's talk about that. So, is comfortability really good? That's what the real question is. If comfortability is good until it takes away your drive to maybe take a risk. Even if it's a small risk, maybe it's a big risk. But if you sit there and say, I don't like this job I think that I could go in business for myself, and you don't say, best case scenario, go in business by myself, my business succeeds, I'm in a great shape. How do I get that way? Worst case scenario, My business falls through. I lost my job. What's going to happen here? You have built a plan toward moving toward the positive. But toward the negative, you say, what's the worst that can happen? Where does that put me? Is that the end of my life? Do I die? No. Does that mean that I can't build opportunity for myself because the worst case scenario happened? No. Is everything over? No. You can live with that. There's no death there. You can live with that. But you're still going to work toward this path. But worst case scenario, you can live with that. I just took a presentation class. And she's like, why do you always volunteer to go first? And I said, because I don't mind presenting. I said, what's the worst that could happen? I stumble on my words. I pack a loogie. I fart. I burp.
Yeah, you probably.
Yeah, or I trip on my own feet or something in front of people.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then I said, okay, do I die? Is everything over? No. I mean, so what? You know, like, this is not the end. My life still continues. I can still do good stuff. Just because one thing failed does not mean that's the end all be all. I think failure sometimes is actually good. It teaches you how to succeed later.
Yeah, it does.
So if you're afraid of the failure because you don't want to take the risk, then you're never going to do anything. You are going to be complacent. And being complacent is just...
I mean, but a lot of people...
sometimes wasting time.
A lot of people go through that, though. It's just like, you see this girl you want to talk to, but you're scared to talk to her because you think she out your league. You know, or this job that you're not qualified for, you still won't put an application because they say you're not qualified. You know, or you won't start your...
right. There's tons of people that think like that.
You know, or you won't start your own business because you don't know if it's going to succeed. Like everybody else, you see these millionaires who start their stuff and you like, wow.
How do you think they got there, though? They took a chance. Some of them already had rich families. Some of them took chances. Some of them left college and did this. Some of them just took chances, and it worked out for them. But my point is that those things exist for everybody. Some people take the risk because they understand that the worst case scenario, they can live with it. They'll continue to live. They can rise up from that and continue. And that's really what it is. I had to learn that too. I used to be afraid of a lot of stuff. I'm not perfect, but if I was single and I saw a girl that maybe I thought was out of my league, the worst she could say is no. I used to tell myself that when I was younger, and I skyrocketed my confidence. Skyrocketed. Because I got told no a couple times, and it didn't bother me none. And sometimes you're like, no, I'm just here with my girlfriends, or no, I got a husband, or no, I got a boyfriend. Like, oh, okay, you know, have a good night, or
you're like,
whatever.
what your boy got to do with me? I got him,
that has to get you in some trouble.
I'm not trying to hear that, see?
But yeah, so the worst that the girl's going to tell you is no. You know, if you're not qualified for a position, but you think you can do the position, if you turn in your resume, the worst they can say is, nah, we just don't think you're qualified. But if they say, you know what, I'll give you a shot. I'll give you an interview. You know, you just like, I told you I didn't think you were qualified, but you still submitted your resume anyway. It looks like you're real passionate about getting this position. Why not give you a shot? They find some good diamonds in the rough that way.
You know, the thing that I think I heard somebody say this is that, you know, you get paid by the hour, right? Or some people's salary or whatever. They were like, say you make like $15 an hour or $20. They'd be like, an hour of your life is only worth $20. $20 for an hour.
I'm glad that somebody thinks like that.
Of your life.
It's important to think like that.
You know, and they'd be like,
is that what you think you're worth,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That should be motivation to somebody. That's why I don't like being complacent. I am continuously trying to move in the company I'm in, and then when I can't move there, I will go somewhere else. I will not be the guy that makes $1 to this guy's $1 million. I make him $1 million, but I get $1 of it. I'm not going to be that. I'm going to be the guy above. And then people are going to make me money, and then hopefully those people strive to make their own money, and then they get people to make them money, and it's just a cycle of success. But in order for you to do that, you got to take the next step, take the baby steps. But that's the truth. And even if you make a ton of money, is that really what your life's worth? If then you need to step the game up.
Especially if you're not doing the right things with the money.
Right.
I don't know. I always thought like if I had like a lot of money, I'd reach out to help other people, get them something.
You talking about the lottery? You just got to be smart about it. Some people are awful with money, and some people might be hood rich or might not come across money, and just all I want to do is spend it. But it's got to be a means to an end. But money's meant to be spent. It's not meant to be saved until you die. Then what's it worth? You save it to spend it later, but it's still meant to be spent. Some people lose sight of that. That's all money is for. It's meant to be spent. Hopefully on something that's going to help your life or help your happiness.
Well, that's the thing. But
think about that. If you save $100,000,
yeah,
and you die,
your family.
What was that money? All right, that's fine. That's cool. But what was it worth to you?
Well, guess it ain't worth nothing.
Nothing. It's like making a bowl of cereal and leaving it on the counter.
But like, are you?
You didn't eat it.
You saving it for against a rainy day.
Saving it to die.
But like, you don't know when you gonna die. It ain't like you got your countdown time.
Die. But that's exactly my point. So
you should go out there and blow it.
You will die. Hopefully, you will die with some type of money.
So you should blow it?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I would never tell you to blow your money. I always tell you to make investments, do something, make your money grow for you. So you will die. If you do that, you will die with money that never meant anything to you. But what I'm saying is some people will do a 401k or save all their money and then not even consider spending it. Not even consider it. And that's the exact purpose of money. I just want you to think about that. That's the purpose.
They tax the 401k when you take out money from. When you take out your own money, they tax you on your money.
Just an example. So, yes, they do. No. You take out an own loan against yourself. You have a time period where you pay that loan back. If you don't pay the loan back in the time period, then they charge you interest on what you pay back. But you're just paying yourself back, so it just makes sense to do that so that the company, Fidelity, or wherever you have it, don't make a percentage off of the money that you took out on yourself. Isn't that some shady stuff?
Yeah, that's shady.
It is.
You taking your own money out. They tax you on your own money.
I'm trying to get you to think outside the box. Money is meant to be spent. There's no other reason for money. You don't eat it. You don't sniff it. Well, it smells pretty good, but what I'm saying is, pretty much.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it's meant to be spent. And then if you die and you have money, and it's basically it'll go to your family, which is a purpose. That's great, but what did it do for you? So, what I'm saying is that people should be in the mindset of, even when they're saving money, to eventually plan to spend it, whether you're investing it into something so it can build more money for you to spend, or you're just going to spend a small chunk of it. Money should be spent. It should be a means to an end of a good life, or means to an end of happiness. One of the two.
But that's how some people are trying to get to that point where they can. Some people are still striving to get there.
It doesn't see that, but that's because they think money equals happiness. That's not what I'm saying. It should help you get there. It's a means to an end. Money does not equal happiness. Money should put you in a position to pursue your happiness. Money should put you in a position to have a good life if you do the right things. But if money becomes the end all be all and you forget that it's the means to that end, you forget what that end is, then you're just one of those money hungry people that have really no ambition to anything. You just want to make money just to have it. And hopefully, you never get in that spot. I know people that like that just thinks the life is about how much money they can get. It's like, okay.
Well, that's because that's how society look at you.
Huh?
That's because that's how society, they judge you of how much money you have.
Yeah, and the problem
and that's how people treat you.
The problem is they care about that.
Yeah.
And that's what the real problem is.
Well, that's their whole persona, is how much money they have.
Right, so the key word here in this whole podcast is perception. The perception that how much money you have make you a better person, makes you an important person. There's a perception out there of that. But does it really? No.
No, it don't.
Shitty rich people, crappy rich people, right?
Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, I do.
I know crappy poor people. I
Yes,
know
I
cool
do.
poor people.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it doesn't. It's just that perception out there, and so that's the whole thing about all these topics are blending together: complacency, comfortability, just the everybody being in a rush, all of it.
Woof. Yeah, we went in on that topic.
There was like 4 topics.
I know it was 4 topics.
Yeah.
It was 4 topics. But Chris is a movie connoisseur. Like he's a movie guy. Like he gets in debt of his movies. And he wanted to speak about the Jordan Peele movie Us.
I think a lot of people like the movie. I'm big on not just movies, but I'm really big on horror movies, even more than just regular movies. But it's mostly because I can appreciate it for the story like everybody else, and I can lose myself in it if it's good, but I also can appreciate that it's a movie and there goes in a lot to the acting, to the camera work, to the special effects. And so because I can do both of those things, it's easier for me to pick up on movies. I don't know if this is a gift or a curse. Any movies that normally have a twist, there are seldom few that I won't figure out before the movie's over. Even my wife will tell you that, as I was saying before.
So wait, when you say you figure it out, is it before the middle mark of the movie?
About the middle or earlier.
Okay. I'll make sure that make sure it went close to the end when you figure it out.
And you know what's really funny is Chris, we were talking about Chicago Chris. He's actually at the movies one time. This is like, I don't know, almost a year ago. With his girl, and I came in with Bree and we were watching Hereditary, that horror movie, and I figured that movie out. I don't know, it took me like 25, 30 minutes to figure the movie out. And Bree was like, really? You think so? And then the end of the movie, she's like, see? She's like, that's the best part of the movie. You've been listening to you figure out stuff, and I talked to him about it. He's like, no, I didn't know. I didn't. He's like, that movie was crazy, man. Yeah, so as it relates to Us, Jordan Peele's sophomore effort of directing, the movie was really good. Just like Get Out was really good. However, one thing that I was telling you earlier that I noticed is that every movie, especially a movie with twists, especially horror movies, has foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is these subtle clues that they put in the movie that are not supposed to be in your face. They're ones that are there, but most people miss. Let's say like 80% of people miss them. But there's that 20% of people that catch them. So what I noticed is in Us, those foreshadowing were not subtle. They were right in your face. In your face. And I put 2 and 2 together, and I figured that he did that because there were a lot of people who were reviewing Get Out harshly because there were things that they didn't understand about it, and because they didn't understand it, they didn't like it. And I think that that's just a terrible way to review something. If you don't understand something, that doesn't give you a right to not like it. How do you know if you like it or don't? But that's usually how it goes. They harshly review stuff that they don't completely understand, or they don't like it because they don't completely understand it. And so what I think he tried to do was he tried to throw all that foreshadowing in your face so that he could appease those people. But I think he learned a valuable lesson as a sophomore director that you're never going to appease those people. Even if you throw all of it in their face, they're still going to be confused if they're going to be confused. And so they still were reviewing Us the same way they were reviewing Get Out. It's not everybody. It mostly got positive reviews, as it should. But there are still those people who were just like, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, or I didn't understand this, and so I didn't like it. Or I didn't understand this, and so it was, just harshly reviewed it. And so hopefully when he does his third effort, he won't be so in your face with the foreshadowing. So I was telling you about that. But I'll tell you about what I was figuring out. So you know, well, I don't want to throw spoilers on this in case people haven't seen it.
Okay, listen, if you haven't seen Us, he's about to drop some spoilers. So just letting you know, just in case you want to cut it off right now if you haven't seen it, because he's about to go in debt. And, just had to give you a warning. All right, Chris, take over.
All right, you gave me the blessing. So The reason that I knew the final twist is because this is related to Addie and Red. The reason I knew that Red was the original Addie is because when Red was leading the revolution, Hands Across America is what she was doing. When the original Addie, before she went to the carnival, the last thing she saw on television was Hands Across America. Hands Across America was something that happened in the late 80s. And so for her tethered partner to understand the Hands Across America, that makes no sense, them being in the area where they don't have access to that type of stuff. So her getting all the tethered to come up and do the Hands Across America, I immediately knew that that Red was the real Addie. That Addie was the real tethered. That they had switched that night that they met in the fun house with the mirrors. They switched.
So it wasn't when the parents just said they just want their daughter to talk.
Nope. I figured it out before that.
And it wasn't the bunnies at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's some too. So it's all of those. That was the biggest hint. But they want their daughter to talk part was very simple because the tether didn't know how to talk. Sure, they could learn how to talk, but they didn't know how to talk. And so there was hints to that as well in a couple pieces. So that part told me. And then when she's trying to teach her son in the car how to be on beat to I Got 5 on it, she's still a little off beat. And she's trying to teach him to be on beat because they're learning. He's still, he's a hybrid. He's half tethered, half human, right? And so I could see that little piece of foreshadowing, him trying to tell us something as well. Another thing is the rabbits. The rabbits was big because the rabbits were the biggest cloned anything. The biggest cloned anything back in the late 80s, early 90s. The rabbit. The white rabbit. And so I knew that was a foreshadow for them being clones. That taught me everything I needed to know about the whole cloning premise. So I got those two from Hands Across America, the rabbits, and then her daughter. Huh?
You was a kid back then with Hands of America and the rabbits and stuff.
Yeah, that still don't mean I don't know about my history.
Oh, so you already knew about this?
Yeah, that stuff is real. Hands Across America.
You know what, eight around that time? Back in the late 80s?
Back in the late 80s, say 89, I was 4. But I still know, I'm older. I know about my history, though.
I see. I never even known about the rabbits cloning.
Yeah, I know
about
Hands
Across America. In my neighborhood, they didn't do no Hands Across America.
And then this whole thing with his daughter, and I think we talked about this too. Her daughter in the car was like, "Yeah, the government's trying to control people with fluoride," which technically isn't a myth.
I still know how they control them with fluoride.
Okay, so I'm not gonna get too deep into this, but
here you go.
It was pretty heavy rumor, I guess you would say, that back during the Holocaust, Hitler would put fluoride in the water for the people held in concentration camps because it made fluoride had this effect on them where it made them more controllable. It kind of affected their brain power, their decision making. They were more vulnerable. And this is said to be a rumor, but was pretty much confirmed that that's the truth. Fluoride does absolutely no good. You could get fluoride-free toothpaste, and your teeth will look still good, if not better, than with fluoride. It doesn't really do anything in that regard. However, we have fluoride and all this stuff, and then it's like one of the main products that's kind of put out there. Oh, fluoride's going to make your teeth do this and that. No. Baking soda whitens your teeth. There's other stuff that do things for your teeth before fluoride was even put in toothpaste. And a lot of people don't consider stuff like that. But fluoride is not really a good thing. Sure, I still have it sometimes and stuff. Sometimes I use regular toothpaste. Sometimes I don't. But at the same time, I understand that where that comes from. And so anyway, she was talking about that. And so then I was like, the government. I said, the government are probably making clones of them. Because the first thing that the movie tells you that there's like a bunch of underground tunnels and railroads underneath the United States, which is completely true. Completely true. And I'm like, okay, they're trying to say that these people come from that area. So you just kind of piece it together. So probably about the 45 minute mark, I got it. I got it early. Because it was in your face. All that stuff was in your face. Except for like I got 5 on it, the rhythm things, not in your face. What else wasn't in your face? The Jeremiah 11:11 wasn't in the Bible verse wasn't in your face. But one thing I noticed about 11:11 is 11 to 11 is the only number that is a mirror image of itself, right? And so that's like another kind of subtle foreshadowing. So those are okay. The subtle ones are okay, but the ones that are like right in front of your face, like the hands across America, man, that gave it away. That killed it for me. And then one of the other important parts.
Not when the family came to the house that night and they were looking.
One of the other important parts is the fact that Red's voice was weird, and I was like, that sounds like her like larynx is crushed. This is exactly what I said to Bree. So then, I started speculating that she probably choked her out because of that.
Wait a minute.
Because it's a
you
certain
got
sound.
That from her talking.
Yeah, I said that her larynx sounds crushed. She
doesn't
sound like
larynx.
I said she doesn't sound like an alien. She sounds like she's like something's wrong with her throat, like her larynx is crushed. And my wife agreed with me. And then I said that she probably like choked her out and switched places with her. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened at the end. So the subtle foreshadowing was fine. I still would have figured it out, but it was fine. But the ones that were in your face kind of took away from it a little bit for me. The hands across America was so obvious to me. That was really obvious to me.
I don't even.
That was probably the most obvious.
I don't even pay attention to movies like that. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot that there was more. There was still more stuff too. His message. His message that Peele's message of the movie is that maybe the evil that we face on a daily basis are ourselves and the privileges that we have. Like even like her husband, when her tethered husband like takes his glasses and puts them on, and he's like he can finally see. You know, that's a privilege that he didn't even know he had. You know, compared to somebody who didn't have that privilege. You know, she's up here giving birth to beautiful children, and then her tethered is going through hell. You know, so it's kind of like we're our own worst enemy, and we take for granted the privileges that we have.
Okay, so what about the end of that movie?
What about it?
The end where they riding in the car and the ambulance at the very end.
No, nothing. Jason knows her secret.
How did he know though? Because he was hiding the whole time.
He knows just the extent of all of the things that happened, the extent of his mother's rage that he saw. He figured it out. I just think he just knew. That's why when he came out and she was like, it's me, he was like real scared. He didn't want to go to her because he figured it out. He ended up getting it. And there's a lot to be speculated, but you can think that maybe Red had even told him when she took him. She had him for a while. She couldn't tell him. Right? So there's a lot that could happen there, but it was very obvious that Jason had figured it out, and he did what we do in society. We just put back on our mask in the face of that type of adversity.
But the question I want to know is, what happened to the tethered people? Last I seen, they were just holding hands.
They're doing the hands across America. Nobody knows. They just came up. Their plan was to take over. They were doing all sorts of stuff, and they just left it open-ended. Did some of the tethered took over? Maybe some of the tethered were pushed back. You never know, but the twists and turns in the movie I thought were a little bit too in your face compared to like Get Out. For example, there was one in your face foreshadowing in Get Out, and that's the groundskeeper running. As soon as I saw the groundskeeper running that night, when he was running at him, I knew that was the grandfather. Because
how?
That's the only one that was kind of like in my face. The reason, but I didn't find out that the maid was grandma. I did not know that. I couldn't put that one together. I don't know why, but because there's a big focus on the scene where he's talking about his grandfather getting beat by Jesse Owens, and how hard his grandfather trained for that, the run and all the stuff he did, and he just lost to a superior athlete, and it haunted him for so long. All that talk, I knew that was important because they said Jesse Owens. They were bringing up like people to make you remember that conversation. And then that one night that's just real strange that he's just running full speed at him. I figured it out. I figured out that's the grandfather's consciousness in that guy. Okay, you just put two and two together right there.
What about the other black guy?
Which other one?
The other
Keith Stanfield.
Keith Stanfield.
The one that gets kidnapped in the beginning. Yeah, well, we figured out he was brainwashed because we saw what they were trying to do to Daniel. I don't know what his name is.
Oh, yeah, he was in his sunken place.
Yeah, he was in his sunken place. And then, like, in real life, extreme lighting and hearing can take you out of hypnosis. Like, those things can take you out. And so that's what happened to him when he got flashed with the camera light. That's actually a real conscious thing with your brain. Your brain can jump to another note immediately through like a flash of light or something else. It's real interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know about these days. It probably don't work because people take too many selfies these days.
If you pay attention, if you go on like a strobe light or something like that in a haunted house, it'll make you feel on the edge. It'll make you feel a little different.
God dang.
That type of stuff affects your brain.
Oh.
But yeah, so I thought it was good overall. Just, they could have did a better job of being a little bit more hidden with their clues to the movie. And I told you, my wife figured it out too. And if she figured it out, then there was two in front of your face. And not because of me. She figured it out because of her.
Wow. That's
it
impressive. Still
didn't take away that it was a good movie. It just took away a little bit. I think it would have been so much better if it wasn't for that. Like figuring it out a little earlier.
But a lot of people don't figure it out like you figured it out.
Right. And so, to each their own. I just thought that he was throwing a little bit in our face on purpose because he wanted to try to see people will follow a little better. But it's like, don't do that. Just do you.
So is Jordan Peele one of your top 5 directors right now?
Can't be. He only directed 2 movies. That's not fair.
But 2 good movies.
2 good movies. But if I take like a Michael Mann or Steven Spielberg or somebody that's directed like anywhere between 50 to 100 movies, I can grab 2 movies from them that are really good that I can say, okay, they're really good, and he scales there, but he needs more in his resume, and then you can do more of a comparison. I'd say for horror movies, yeah, probably up there, top 5 horror movies. Why not?
All right, we got one more question. Oh boy, this was the episode right here. Which comedian is the funniest out now?
Which comedian is the funniest out now? This is not... It's a debatable topic. There's no real answer to that.
So do you think Kevin Hart's still funny?
Yeah, I do.
Is he better than Cat Williams?
He's always been better than Cat Williams. I'm not a big Cat Williams guy. I didn't find him funny. I said, it's a preference thing. I didn't find Cat Williams that funny.
So if it was a new...
Are you talking about like Patrice O'Neal, for example? You watch Elephant in the Room?
I ain't watched that one.
Man, Patrice O'Neal, rest in peace. Super underrated. But you talking about like good comedy? That's some funny stuff. Have you watched like Joey Diaz before?
Yeah,
Joey Diaz is funny. It's a lot of-
Iglesias, Gabriel.
Oh, Gabriel
Mr.
Iglesias.
Fluffy.
I haven't seen him in a while. But there's a lot of.
Okay, let me change that question then. Who's your 4 kings of comedy right now? If they go on a tour.
Shoot, I don't know.
Would Kevin be on your roster?
I'm from a different age of comedy. If you're talking about new age,
Yeah, new age.
comedians, sure, Kevin. Would be
Not
on
like
there.
I mean, who would be like the new Steve, Bernie, DL, and Cedric of this time now? That go on tour together can claim the kings of comedy. New edition.
I don't know. Probably Kevin Hart, Chappelle is in there. If he still can pull him.
Chris
it's
Rock.
tough. Yeah,
But Chris
it's
Rock
tough.
is
It's tough.
old though.
So
But
is
he's
Eddie
still
Murphy.
new.
So is Martin Lawrence. There's some people that are. Jamie Foxx is pretty good at comedy too. I don't know if you ever watched him. Bill Bellamy has a good stand up.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, you can't sleep on them. They got good stuff.
I ain't never
Bill
think
Bellamy
about
has
Bill
good
since he was on
stand-up.
MTV.
He has good stand up. That's what I'm saying. He's good stand up, like real good.
Or the one guy from Blackish.
Oh,
I forgot
Hannibal
it.
Buress.
No, not him. No, he
Oh, Anthony Anderson.
No, not his friend that worked with him. I don't really find Hannibal Buress too funny to me.
There's some stuff where he's funny though.
But no, it's the guy who worked with him from Chicago.
I put my finger on who you talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but he be acting like real dumb on Blackish. Got a crush on Anthony Anderson's wife.
I know who's in the show, but I never really watched the show that much. Even like Donald Glover has good comedy.
And Nick Cannon.
Yeah, Nick Cannon has good comedy too. There's some people that don't get enough credit, but picking the top 4 is tough, man. What's homeboy's name from Neighbors? The black
Zac
guy?
Efron?
No, the black guy. What's his name?
I think the only person I know from Neighbors is Seth Rogen.
No, the black guy that does the Samuel L. Jackson. They go to the meeting with the dean, and he says he had a pot brownie and that he was really high. And she's like, "You shouldn't be telling me that." And he's like, "I thought you said you wanted to shave like up here. You know, we were taking pictures." And they told him to shave his, his pubic hair off. Dang, what is his name? He had his own show. I just can't remember what his name is.
The
He's
one
pretty
that
funny.
changed voices?
No, he's the one that goes out and talks to Hannibal Buress when he's the cop. And his name's Garfield. Black guy. I can't remember his name. He's got some funny material as well. Are you talking about Jay Farrow?
Yeah, I'm
Jay
talking Jay
Farrow's
Farrow.
funny.
Yeah, Jay
He's
Farrow.
funny too. He's actually real funny, and he kills those voices. But yeah, it's too hard, man. There's a lot of
Yeah, you're right. I should have put some thought to this question.
Michael Blackson. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like Mike. I like Mike a lot.
Keep
Sean
it
Wayans.
real.
I don't know, Sean.
It's not even just black comedians. I find Theo Vaughn really funny.
Who is that?
Brennan Schaub's pretty funny. That group.
Who is that?
Theo Vaughn, the white guy from Louisiana. It's pretty funny.
Is he in the movie? Or he just a straight up comedian?
He's in movies, but he's a comedian. He's
On
hilarious.
Netflix?
I don't know if he's on Netflix or not. He's funny though. Brendan Schaub, former UFC fighter, he has a pretty good stand-up. Kim Jong,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
He has a good stand-up.
I
There's
like
some
Kim
guys
Jong.
that be killing it, man. It's tough. That's a tough question. Sorry, I don't have a definitive answer.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Well, y'all, it's about that time that we get ready to wrap it up. I want to thank Chris for coming through again. Oh, man, he dropped some gems in this one. He the door always open for Chris. How many times this make?
I appreciate that. I think this is number
4?
5.
No, this is not number 4?
Remember, I got the one with Anthony, too.
Oh, yeah. See, look at that. Look at that. 5th time in. So, as usual, you want to send in shout-outs?
Shout out to Cal and Jay, a.k.a. the Ballin' Brothers, a.k.a. Straight Hooping, aka Sumner Y, aka Getting Old, aka You Better Ice Them Knees.
You going a little too far.
Hey, you got to keep the AKAs going like Deez Zamero.
Yeah, that's for Jerry, yeah. Mr. Ice Those Knees.
Stretch them calves.
Oh, yeah, you got me on that one. Wow.
But thanks for having me, and hopefully I'll be able to, make another appearance sometime in the future. But, you got a lot of good people that come on and give some good knowledge, so I'm glad I could be a part of it.
Oh, man, I'm glad that he came on. I just like to pick Chris' brain because he be knowing so much stuff. And
I don't know about all that.
Well, you do know a lot of stuff.
But I just try to get you to think outside the box. Think about other stuff.
Don't be complacent.
Don't be complacent, and don't get caught just the same stuff all the time. You got to sometimes step outside the comfort zone, think outside the box, because there's so much other stuff you're not learning because you're just staying in the pocket. You should be like, well, I didn't think about that. That's a good statement. Well, I didn't think about it that way. Even I still have those. I'm forever a student.
Oh,
I learn something new every day. So I like that. I like saying that. I didn't think about it like that. That's one of the best things you can say, because you're actually considering thinking about something in a different way, even if you agree with it or don't. But yeah.
Well, he got a point there. And I just want to shout out to everybody who I just thought about it. I asked you to shout out like this was your first time. You probably just shout out everybody like 20 times now.
Shout out everybody, a.k.a. all my peoples, a.k.a. everybody under the sun, a.k.a. Bonnie Lake Killers, a.k.a. my Detroit Killers, a.k.a. my Phoenix Killers, a.k.a. everybody that's not a killer.
It's like you're shouting out gangs now.
That's why I said everybody that's not a killer.
But yeah,
I love all y'all.
I want to thank Chris once more time again, and thank all of y'all for tuning in to your boys at From the Bottom. Shout out to Jay one more time. And as always, what's the saying? I'm going to let Chris say it this time because, he know it by now.
I did it last time too. Cal and Jay, every day. From the bottom.